Welcome inside the John M. Huntsman Center on the campus of the University of Utah, the side of the 2024 6A State Championship Basketball Tournament on KSLSports.com, presented by Heidemann & Associates, brought to you by NutriCost. Put in the code UTAHMADE and get 30% off your supplement order. Dusty Litster and the coach, Casey Walkenhurst, with you, the head coach of the Farmington Phoenix. And coach, you know Layton, well, first of all, our matchup, Corner Canyon versus Layton. Winner moves on to the 6A title. You know Layton about as well as anybody. This is a very, very good basketball team.
No question. They are, in my opinion, the most balanced team in 6A. They've got 4 kids that average double figures. You never know which night someone's going to go off. I think, the addition of Katoa, David, changes them, but they were going to be good regardless. And you never know if Romer's going off tonight. You don't know if KJ's going off tonight. So, honestly, I think these two might be the best 2 teams in 6A. We're getting a real great game for the semifinal.
Yeah, we certainly are. And then Corner Canyon, I mean, this is an extremely good team. Brody Kozlowski comes in, a 4-star kid going to USC. Dan Lunt has built up a great pipeline of players. He's won, they've been to back-to-back championship games. He's won 2, looking for a 3rd.
Yes, they're the gold star in 6A basketball for the last few years, and Brody's fantastic. He reminds me a lot of Klay Thompson. He can score 17 points and not dribble the ball once. Right? He's just going to catch and shoot, or he'll get it in a sweet spot about 2 feet off the block and just use his length. So it's going to be interesting who Layton puts on him. I would put Katoa on him just for his length and athleticism, but you also kind of don't want David to get in any foul trouble. So you might see Tidwell on him tonight. Who knows? But either way, I think we got a powerhouse matchup tonight.
But they certainly do. And Brody Kozlowski in the quarterfinal scored 39 points. He didn't miss a lot of shots in that 39 points either.
No, they were a lot of step-in threes, and the game looks so simple for him. Some kids, it's sporadic, and he looks like he's kind of out. He's a little Keith Van Hornish back in the day, 1998. He could have 27 points, and he'd be the quietest. Yeah, 97. Sorry, the quietest 27 points.
You got to know. I know Utah basketball.
Oh yeah, I grew up since I was a 3-year-old coming to games up here back in the day. So
I wear different colors, but I still know Utah basketball.
Yeah. I'm excited for Utah to get back to those days. That's for sure.
And when we look at the starting lineups, this is going to be really interesting. I'll give you let's go 2 players that don't get highlighted a whole lot that I think are the keys. You named one of them earlier, but Brighton Valdez from Corner Canyon. That kid is an absolute spark plug. He pulled them away in the quarterfinals. And for Layton, you mentioned him earlier, Sam Romer. Because we have the headline guys, but those 2 dudes can change this game.
No question. Sam specifically, just because I know him a little bit better, he is, for a guard, a fantastic offensive rebounder. A shot goes up, and he's crashing every time. That was a big scouting report for us, and I hope Corner Canyon puts a guy in him that's going to block him out tonight.
So we're set and ready to go. It is Brighton Valdez, Isaac Nybar, Darrell Desire, and Brody Kozlowski for Coach Dan Lunt, KJ Miller, Dave Katoa. It's Checketts, Makai Martin, and Sam Romer for Coach Kelby Miller, the former CEU Golden Eagle. I'm sure he beat me a couple times at 7 on the line when I was a little kid at the BDAC.
Kelby's a great coach and a good friend of mine. I look up to him. He's been coaching for a lot longer than I have, and this is one of his best groups. So I'm really excited about this game. I think it's going to be fantastic. First to 80 wins. I'm calling it right now.
First to 80. There we go. There's your key to the game. As we're still waiting for the TV to get growing, but hope you've enjoyed the coverage this week. Championship games are on Friday. 11, 1:30, 4, and 7, I think, are the time slots. Is that right, Vince? Yeah, okay. We'll have them for you on Friday. Tomorrow's an off day. Dane Stewart needed that. Dane lost his voice. He's been a little under the weather, too. Lost his voice. We're getting him on some therapy, get him ready and back, so he'll take today off. Tomorrow, we'll have him back on Friday. As we are set and ready to go. Darrell Desire versus Dave Katoa for the jump ball. And we are underway in the 6A semis. 23-1, Layton taking on Corner Canyon. Those losses early in the year, a lot of them came without Brody Kozlowski, who got in a car wreck at the end of football season. Broke his collarbone or clavicle. Had to get better, come back and play. As Makai Martin, soft touch, and Makai with the bucket.
That could be a big mismatch all night, putting put number 3 on Mackay. Mackay's got a little bit of length and strength on him, so look to see him get posting up a lot.
Inside to Desiree. And Desiree gets that one to go. And Duncanville couldn't stop that big powerhouse from Texas. I mean, Desiree gets moving. It's a problem.
Yep, Checketts is going to have to stay in front of him tonight.
And Mackay Martin opens up with 4 points. And it's a 4-2 lead early on for Layton.
Looks like they did put David on Kozlowski. This is going to be a best-on-best matchup tonight.
And a rare from the other day. Brody with the miss and a steal from Nybar. Isaac goes at Martin. Take the bump. And they'll call it on the shot. It'll be 2 free throws for Isaac Nybar. He's kind of the guy that gets missed of all the guys that have been in this program for a long time, but he can hurt you.
Yeah, definitely. He's their second leading scorer, and yeah, like you said, a little bit lost in the shuffle, but he's a great basketball player.
With those weeks without Brody Kozlowski, Nybar played outstanding. I think back to the Alta game, he was an absolute terror in the Alta game. It wasn't just mid-range, his ability to get to the rim is impressive.
Definitely. That's a quick one on Martin, too. He got 2 quick ones against us on Monday, so hopefully he'll stay out of foul trouble in this one.
Knotted up at 4. The referees today, Greg Spencer, Brandon Wilkins, and Drake Marquez. As I actually owe Brandon Wilkins, I owe him a couple gift cards. He's watched every game this week. He's answered on nearly every one of our trivia questions.
Wow.
A steal by Farrow.
He's a diehard.
He is. You learn this about the officials. Probably our biggest viewership is officials. And Farrow for 3.
They've got to evaluate themselves, right?
Yeah. As Farrow knocks down the triple, and it's 7-4 Corner Canyon. KJ Miller swatted away by Farrow.
Ooh, foul call there. I thought it looked clean.
Oh, they called a foul. For a little misfire, we'll get that fixed on our replay. We'll get that fixed. Great crowd on hand. Knew Layton would show up. These fans are excited about their 23-1 Lancers. That first one goes. Corner Canyon comes in 18-7. They also played one of the toughest, if not the toughest schedule in the history of the state of Utah.
Yes, that was an unbelievable preseason schedule and got them ready for games like this.
And they were hoping it was with Brody. So without Brody, it's like, oh boy, here
yes.
we go.
Took that trip down to Miami without him. I don't think they were quite ready for that. They did pretty successful down there in Miami, though.
Yeah, they were. As that one goes for Desiree. And
Checketts is going to have to get him on his right hand as much as he can tonight.
Well, he loves to go with that right shoulder. As it go in the corner to Sam Romer. Romer on the drive past Farrow. Trying to leave that for Checketts. That's off of him, and it'll go back to Corner Canyon.
One thing Layton does so well is they spread the floor. They have shooters all over the place other than Checketts. And if Corner Canyon keep the ball in front of them and not rely on help, then that's going to help them a lot.
Taylor Farrow. I'll try not to call him Jaden. Just trying to get down out of the way, his older brother. Drop it down inside to Durrell. Durrell try to get around Checketts. Lost the handle. No foul. That ball goes out of bounds. I think Drake is going to say, I could have called the hook. I'm not going to. We're just going to move the ball.
Well, let's hope it's a clean, officiated game tonight. Let the players win it.
So this week, officials have been really good. They've really not, maybe 3 to 4 games of all the games that have happened this week. It has been really loose about, hey, we're going to let you go ahead and decide the winner.
And it should be that way. The players should win or lose these games.
And now down low, Brighton Valdez. Drake Marquez is going to say, they're going to try to get rid of a flop. And you see Dan Lund having the conversation. So let's go ahead and see if we can see this on the.
Yeah, I think KJ was just trying to get position, and I think that's a good call.
I think so, too. If you start setting that up, it wasn't a forcible move. Now, granted, we're in college. Heaven knows what they would call there. As Mackay Martin doesn't get that one. Farrell pulls down the rebound.
It's not really his game, shooting off a ball screen or a screen. He's more of a catch-and-shoot type player.
Desiree to Farrow. And if you don't pay attention to him, this kid will hurt you.
It's a great backside cut. Didn't stare and look at the ball. It's great to be an offside cutter. You score a whole lot more points.
And a dunk for Checketts.
Great pick and roll. Kozlowski's been a little quiet. I don't know if he scored yet right here. Looks like Katoa's doing a pretty good job.
The three from Farrow is short. He tracks down the rebound, saves it in. Ball tipped out and ends up in the hands of Nybar. Then drop it inside to Durrell. Backside cut. There's Farrow. Telling you, you don't mark number 11. He'll dice you up all night.
Yeah, no question. Corner Canyon's obviously game plans get the ball into 13, and if the double comes, he's got great vision. He's had 2 great assists.
KJ thought he'd get a foul call, didn't. Put the shot up, no foul. Here comes Brighton Valdez. Leaves it for Brody. Junction J is there.
That's what he needed.
The run from Corner Canyon. Timeout on the floor. It'll be a full timeout. 3:51 left in the first quarter. Full timeout. It's Utah Facial Plastics timeout. We'll be back at the Huntsman Center after this. 3:51 left in the first quarter. Again, I want to thank Utah Facial Plastics. They're our sponsor this week on instant replays and timeouts. Offices in Draper and in Layton. So they're neutral in this one. Call 801-960-3137. Utah Facial Plastics. Hair restoration, amongst other things, you can take care of at Utah Facial Plastics. An 8-point lead for Corner Canyon as they put up a little run as Romer down the lane. Blocked away by Durrell. That ball goes out of bounds and will stay here.
Yeah, I figured that out of the timeout they'd run a little duck-in play for Katoa. That's one of their go-tos, and he got pretty good position, but Brody defended him really well there.
15-7, Corner Canyon leads Layton. KJ Miller short on the 3, the rebound to Farrow. As we'll have stats at the end of the quarter as Farrow's been outstanding. Desiree goes to Farrow, be a long 2, back rimmed, rebound to Brody. Sends out to Brighton Valdez, now back inside. Durrell with a 2-handed flush.
He's got a lot of length. He's giving Checketts all he wants right here. It'll be interesting to see if Kelby goes small, try to spread the floor on the offensive side of the ball.
Now let's remind people what happened last night in the 5A state tournament. This end of the floor that Layton is on now, it has been an extremely different percentage of shooting on this end of the floor versus to the right. And we had a 14-point lead from Timpview that got erased, and they lost their game against Alta. And the same thing happened in the Highland Olympus game. Highland was up 9 points. They were up more, and Olympus came back and got them when they switched sides.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the curse of the tunnel or something over there, but yeah, it's been kind of a week-long thing with that side of the floor.
Makai Martin back rim to the rebound to Farrow. I'm always so curious on the double line stuff. If kids, even like you saw, he made a concerted effort being on the high school line. If you're still in your mind, like you see the one in the back, I wonder about that all the time.
Yeah, I mentioned to my team, and you see it all the time up here, that kids will definitely gravitate to that second line, even if they're not actually thinking about it.
And that's why I was thinking, hey, when they finally step inside, if it's like, hey, is it 3?
Yeah, they might think they're shooting long 2s.
Right. He gets Checketts, goes into him there. On Durrell back rim.
Did they call that foul on Martin, or did they call it on Checketts?
I think they called it on Checketts, I believe. They're not using the stat boards for stats. You've got to get impressions.
Seems like Makai's a little mad, so maybe they called that on him.
That may be.
And he doesn't usually come out very often.
Comes off the screen, does Valdez. Farrow drops it in to Durrell. Durrell lost the handle, finds Neibauer. They're saying, hey, the double comes, you come down the side, the baseline, and they're getting easy layups.
Yes, that's a great game plan. I think Layton might have to stop coming with that monster double and just see if Checketts can keep him on his right hand.
Tidwell into the corner to Dave Katoa. Dave working on Kozlowski. Puts it up and kiss it off the window. It's a good job there by Katoa.
Yeah, he needs to get going here quickly to get Layton back into this.
Neibauer off the screen to Kozlowski. Send it back up to Brody. Tipped. Neibauer will go wisely into the backcourt to go get that ball. And nice hands. Carter Miller with the rip. Carter Miller with the lay-in.
Good job getting into that gap, getting his hands in there. It's a good way for a freshman to get the jitters out in a semifinal game right there.
Yeah, your next 3 years right there, Coach.
Yeah, we'll have to game plan for him.
Neibauer finds Valdez. Brighton in the lane, put it up over top of Check. It's good contest. Got it back. Farrell out to Brody. 4-3.
Man, when he gets that step in, catch and shoot, it's almost automatic. And for a high school kid, I mean, USC got a steal with him, I think.
I don't think they really realized what they got.
Yeah, no question.
In the schools in state, I won't get too derogatory. As we go on the drive to Fulmer. Fulmer finds that inside the Checkets. And nice finish by Checkets. The junior Josh Checkets with the lay-in.
This is the most he's played for a while after his ACL injury or MCL injury, so we'll see how his conditioning will be.
Yeah, I'm surprised he started against you on Monday. He played sparingly off the bench against Copper Hills.
I think they tend to put him in with teams with a couple of bigs.
Fulmer and Neibauer get tied up. Down the lane, Valdez. Force it up, called that on the floor. And that is the 13th foul, so will not be, well, they're going to call it on the shot.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty soft right there compared to a lot of calls that don't get made right there. I can see why Coach Miller's not real happy with that.
Valdez misses the first as Noah Bendinger checks in for the first time for the final 6.7.
Guess the ball doesn't lie on that foul there.
That's what Kelby's saying. And Valdez does roll in one of two. I like the decision here. Corner Canyon going to go full court. 3 seconds. 2. Fulmer at the horn. And that will do it for the first quarter. And at the end of one, it is Corner Canyon 23, Layton 13. The winner moves on to the 6A state championship game. You are watching the 2024 6A state tournament on KSLSports.com, presented by Heidemann Associates and brought to you by NutriCost.
This is apple cider vinegar from NutriCost. This is apple cider vinegar from another leading brand. NutriCost has 500 milligrams of apple cider vinegar. So does this other brand. NutriCost is third-party tested, non-GMO, and gluten-free. This other brand? Well, we're not sure. NutriCost is also available at a great price delivered right to your door. NutriCost has over 500 different products for health and wellness. NutriCost, only what you need.
Start of the second quarter, Dusty Litster and the coach Casey Walkenhurst with you. As Corner Canyon jumped out 23-13.
Looks like Layton's going to go to a 1-3-1 right here to maybe get Corner out of their rhythm and see if they can keep 13 off the block and getting catches.
And Darrell's not killing him in the points. This is all about his assists. He has looked to the opposite side. They've crashed that baseline. And there wasn't any answers. Noah Bendinger out of the break, misses the corner three. Tipped around. Farrell has it. They work it back around. Brody back to Bendinger. Pump the three. Now give it to Farrell. Blocked away by Katoa.
This used to be a Layton staple, a 1-3-1. They've kind of gone away from it for a few years, but I'm sure they work on it all the time.
Katoa's got such good hands. Get the steal there. Down the floor. Brody able to slap it away. Katoa loses the handle.
Layton will have to block out of that 1-3-1. It's hard to block out.
Kozlowski misses on that one. Backside board to Farrow. And it's a 12-point. Sorry, Coach. Jumped on
No,
here.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's just when you go to a zone, especially an extended 1-3-1 like they do, it's hard to have a block out assignment. So we'll see if Corner will crash the boards on it.
Corner Canyon was 9 of 13 in the first quarter. Layton was 6 of 13. Corner was 2 of 3 from deep. We've already missed their first two. Fulmer, pretty move, can't finish.
It's amazing what length will do to a layup. When a layup you'd normally make 90% of the time, but when you got that in the back of your mind, those become so much harder.
Brody Kozlowski again. Big shot, Brody.
It's effortless.
It's so clean.
Yes.
And it's been that way since his sophomore year.
There's no mechanical issues with that shot. It's so simple and so effective.
Miller comes off the screen looking for Katoa. Mishandled that one, and back down the floor we go. Brody Kozlowski and Corner Canyon. We get a chance to look at his last three.
There's no wasted movement from his waist up, and uses all of his power from his legs. All you young players mimic that.
Desiree send that to the corner to Bendinger. Noel on the baseline, wraps it back to Desiree, and Darrell fouled. KJ Miller is frustrated. Going to put Desiree at the line to foul the KJ, his first.
Corner just has guys in the right spot at the right time. Their eyes are up, always trying to find the next open player. They're kind of putting on a clinic here.
There's a free throw miss. It's very interesting. Dan Lunt last year after the state championship, he told us that he goes, people can think whatever they want. We have a thing called the Charger Way, that every day that is not moratorium, do they have an activity they have to do as a basketball team every day. He goes, people do not like it. He's like, but you can't argue the results of what we do.
It builds chemistry, and it shows out here. See if KJ can get himself going right here. He's hasn't been real effective yet.
Couldn't get that one to go. Bendinger comes back the other way, and Noah Bendinger buries the three.
His mid-range game is fantastic, but if he's pulling up and hitting those, I think Layton's in big trouble.
Bendinger did not play any varsity minutes until the Duncanville game in December. I mean, think about that. As there's a nice Carter Miller, the freshman.
Carter Miller, 20 lanes.
Let's see, Carter in that first quarter, well, now it's 4 points. For some reason, I thought he already had 4 points.
He had that steal for 2, and then just that bucket right there.
Brody falling away, no. Rebound backside to Bendinger. If it can bounce the way of corner, it is bouncing the way of corner.
Yeah, no question. There's a very Klay Thompson-esque fadeaway there from Brody. Again, looks very comfortable shooting a shot like that.
Miller turns it over.
And he's forcing everything.
Here comes Neibauer. He was trying to get the lob to Desiree. Ends it back in the hands of Neibauer. And Kelby Miller has got to take another timeout as Corner Canyon has opened up a 21-point lead to 30. Probably is a full timeout. We'll get some thoughts from Coach when we come back. It's 4:45 left in the half. You're watching the 6A semifinals presented by Heidemann Associates, brought to you by NutriCost. Go to NutriCost.com, use the code UTAHMADE for 30% off. There's only been one Mr. Basketball. Oh, I know the answer. If you don't know this answer, you should know the answer.
Is his name Julian Blackman?
Well, he's about to get to a second contract.
Yes, he's going to be making a lot of money.
Yeah. I've always been bragging about Marcus Kemp. Mainly I brag about Marcus Kemp because most people forget that Marcus is from Utah and that he won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. He wasn't part of the first one. He's part of the second one. But Julian Blackman is about to get paid. There's a block by Farrow again. KJ Miller on the drive. He's a spot-up guy. I've kind of been shocked that the decision's been to try to work off the dribble.
He's been bouncing it a lot, but he keeps bouncing into trouble. I think he's got to trust his teammates a little bit more. He can't do it all on his own right now. He's got to get his team back into it by working together.
I think we got a shot clock. Officials are talking and one saying, hey, it was on me. Maybe not a shot clock thing.
I think this is a good move by Kelby. Let him sit down for a second, catch his breath. And remember, he's got good players around him. Doesn't have to do it all on his own right here.
It's got to be interesting being, KJ and even Carter. Your dad's been head coach there forever. There's an ownership for you in that program, and that since you could walk, you've been in that building. You've been in that gym. You shot every shot that you could ever think of in that gym. And I think there's just a little bit like, hey, we're back, and I want to make it happen.
Yes, no question. Not only for Layton High, but probably for their dad to give him that opportunity.
Desiree sends it out to Neibauer, hands back to Kozlowski. Brody loses the handle. Nice defense by Mekhi Martin. Come the other way, Sam Romer forces his way to the rim. No, kind of the way it's gone. He had Carter Miller on his left.
Yeah, Layton's missed a couple easy ones. I think, again, that length possibly is bothering him as they're running to the basket.
I'm not a fan of this one. We have allowed so much contact at the rim. And the foul goes to Checketts. We get a chance to look at it.
Yeah, not great legal guarding position, but there sure wasn't a lot of contact either.
Well, especially for what we've allowed all week long. So just, and again, here's the thing that we always talk about. I don't care how you call it. Just if it's a foul now or is not, if it is or is not a foul at this moment, it should not be a foul in the final minute.
No question. A first quarter foul should be the same as a fourth quarter foul.
Right. Now, if you want to come back and say, hey, I probably should have blown on that one, and you had that conversation, like, hey, I should have done it and make the adjustment. Got it.
Yes.
As Katoa wide to the left is, again, Layton pressing a little bit as there's a jump ball. Ball will stay down here with the Lancers. But I feel like now they're starting to force it. It's like, hey, we're trying to force that flow to come back.
Yeah, there's no drive and create right now. It's all a little bit more one-on-one, and it just feeding into Corner Canyon's ability to clog the paint here.
It's something. I was trying to figure out what they were pointing at. Darrell Desiree was like pointing. I thought he was pointing at the bottom of the backboard. Maybe they were pointing at the shot clock.
I think Mekhi Martin's got to get going here a little bit. He started off with 4 quick ones. And yeah, Layton's just in no rhythm right now. They got to stem this thing here in the next 3 minutes, otherwise this could get out of hand.
How hard is it to get to rhythm when you're taking the ball out of the net too?
It's very hard. Very hard that you're constantly having to come down and run sets when you'd rather just get out and run, which is when Layton's at their best.
Bendiger off the screen from Desiree, sends out to Brody. Brody on the drive, wraps it out to Nybar. And Isaac Nybar for 3.
Brody knew he was making that pass. 2 dribbles into that drive.
A corner opens up a 25-point advantage. Carter Miller to check it. Tipped up by Katoa. No. On the run now with Corner Canyon is Isaac Nybar. Isaac on the drive into Checkets. Left hand, no. As Bendinger ends up with a loose ball. Misses on the 3. Tipped up and out of bounds by Corner Canyon. It'll be Layton basketball.
Man, that length inside right there, even on that last possession with Checkets, he gets a great, bounce around the baseline, but the length of Corner Canyon is really in Layton's head right now.
It was 23-13 at the end of the first quarter as Katoa can't get that one. Can't get the putback either. Romer knocks that off of Farrow. I mean, it's a 17-2 quarter for Corner Canyon.
Wow. To hold Layton to a prolific scoring team like Layton to 2 points. This is a clinic right now by Corner. I'm
going to get a text from Dan Lund because he's going to hear this part of this game. You got to remember is that 3 on the way and rattled home. And that is Sam Romer knocking that down. Is Corner Canyon and Zach Wilson's last high school basketball game. Corner Canyon versus Olympus in the semifinals up at Weber. I think they were up 27 in that game. Olympus played in the state championship game that year. The greatest high school basketball game I have ever witnessed. Olympus versus Springville. But the best comeback I've ever seen was Olympus versus Corner Canyon.
Yes, I remember that vividly. I thought Olympus, their reign of 5A at that time was, or even was it maybe even 4A at that time.
They hadn't won yet. Yeah, it was 5A before Corner Canyon got bumped up.
And yeah, that was one of the more epic comebacks maybe in the state's history, especially in that type of a game.
Yeah, the type of game with no shot clock, and they're going to have a loose ball foul on Darrell Desiree. And again, what we're begging for on this broadcast is this game to get a little tighter.
Yes, no question. I mean, it's fun to see Corner Canyon just play great basketball but yeah, let's make a little run here and make it interesting.
Makes it a lot more fun when we get to talk about, hey, what would you do here? What would you do here? Instead of, we hope they get to something as KJ can't get that one to go. And then we hit the 105 mark left in the half. Brody Kozlowski is fouled. Is going to put Brody at the line. And what you're wishing for if you're Kelby Miller is, hey, hopefully, because he's watched all week long too, hopefully that whole switch the rim thing works.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time in between 5A and 6A, the swings in games, up 9, up 10, up 14, and it switches so quickly.
Well, and the electricity we had in this gym last night, Coach, was awesome.
I could feel it from watching it on TV, on my phone. I heard the amount of Olympus students was crazy.
It was great, and the parents showed up. It's kind of what you're looking at in the moment. What's kind of fun you have this game is you have the Lehigh fans that show up a little bit early. You know, they and Harriman showed up just a little bit early, so let's start filling in
Yes.
to win this game. And if this game can tighten up, then we get unreal. There's a foul as Romer taking that one to the hole. Going to put Sam Romer at the line.
Looks like Layton trying to go more small, trying to drag 13 out and using their speed, which obviously makes it a little bit more difficult on the defensive side, but maybe this will be the spark they need.
So Sam Romer steps up to the line.
It's be interesting still here too with strategy. Will Corner Canyon have a quick set right here for a 2-for-1? That's always a conversation with coaches with the shot clock now. How often are you doing 2-on-1s or 2-for-1s? Do you have set plays for these situations? So let's see what Dan has for a possible 2-for-1 right here.
You make me smile because I asked that to a coach earlier this year. Oh, Katoa took that away from Wells Robertson. They skip that over. 3 from Tidwell. Doesn't go. Rebound to Fulmer. Couldn't hold it. Now it's Sam Romer at Noah Bendinger. Now, this is a kid. You've got to have someone get it going. Sam Romer with a little bit of a spurt.
Yeah, that could give Layton a little life in that locker room here in 26 seconds.
21-point game. You love. I think if you get inside of 20, you feel really good. As Nybauer, or probably sends it out to Farrow. Farrow to Brody on the baseline. 10 seconds. Wraps it around. 3 on the way from Nybauer. Rebound to Farrow. 4 seconds. 3, 2, Bendinger at the horn. And that will do it for the first half of play. It was all Corner Canyon. They got it going in the first. They put the clamps on in the second. And we go to the break, and they have a 21-point advantage. Chargers lead 42-21. Winner moves on to the 6A championship game. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the halftime performances. You're watching the 2024 6A State Championship Tournament on KSLSports.com, presented by Heidemann Associates, brought to you by Nutricost. Start of the third quarter, Dusty Litzter and Casey Walkenhurst with you. As Corner Canyon built a 21-point lead over Layton. And Coach, that first half, if it could go bad for Layton, it went bad for Layton. And if you're in that locker room, Kelby Miller had them out early. What is the message to try to get them to bounce back?
I think the message is play within. What have we done? We're 23-1. What have we done to do what we've done to get to this point and go back to that? Trust each other. Spread the floor. Defend as best we can. Corner's got some great players. And, similar to what we did on Monday, try to set a goal. This has got to be a 12-point game by the end of the quarter to give ourselves a shot here. And just one possession at a time. It's not all going to come in one possession.
Right.
So I would guess that's the message. And, at least have no regrets.
Right.
Play the next 16 minutes like it's your last. And if things work out, great. If they don't, do what you can.
It's amazing. You look at the shot, the shooting in that first half. Corner Canyon and shot 29 shots. Layton shot 28. Corner Canyon was 15 of 29 in that first half. Layton was 9 of 28. Oof.
Yeah. Any team shooting over 50% is going to have a huge advantage.
Mekhi Martin on the run out. Leave it for Katoa. He went for the dunk. He got fouled. Beautiful pass there from Mekhi Martin. And David Katoa fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
I could bring a little life to the Lancers here.
That's a good foul by Isaac Nybauer.
Yes.
Because he lets him get his hands on the rim. This place gets pumping a little bit here. And that's really what Layton's got to find, right? Hey, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. But can you get it to a spot where you can finally make execution?
Yeah. And obviously we've seen throughout this tournament, a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter is not safe.
Oh, okay.
I think Layton would like this reset of a score here to back to 0-0.
Yeah, loved it. Well, so I'm snapping to Vince Francis because we were doing a data grab. I'm not going to go to the whole thing, but our scoreboard went to 0. And then one score was up first, Vince, just so you're aware. And I'm snapping like, hey, just so we can fix it manually. And he points at the scoreboard to show me the reset. A lot of sass on that. Little pizzazz. We had I got a new intern up here, Ellery. And Ellery's doing Thailand. She's like, do you guys like each other? Kind of thing. I was like, you guys really get after each other. Is the relationship going to stay together? It's like, Vince and I have been through the wars together.
Yes.
And if we stop making fun of each other, then we know that there's a communication problem.
Yes, no question.
We told all of the new people here this week, Casey, and you probably may have heard this if you listen to the games. If you're in our vicinity, you're fair game. It's about teasing you and giving you a hard time. Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
People are too serious these days. It's okay to joke around.
Yeah. It's okay to get teased a little bit. It's all right. And just have some fun, too. As there's a snap inside to Nybar. Nybar goes up. No. The rebound to Durrell. He goes up with it and scores.
He's deadly when he gets to that left hand.
Like I said, when I saw him against Duncanville, and I use that as a big watershed because I know how good Duncanville is. He played so well in that game. I thought, oh, man, this kid's really, really good. We did the Alta game earlier that week, and it was a quiet game for him as Mackay can't get it. Rebound to Katoa, but that game was so different as Katoa. Oh, he didn't get the Farmington bounce.
Yeah, that would have definitely gone in a couple days ago. Well, looks like Drake's out there playing a little defense.
Yeah, Todd Graham just out there bodying up people. Oh, the shot goes off the mark from Kozlowski. Can Katoa make it hurt? David sends it out to Tidwell. Tidwell going to pull over Farrow. No. And the rebound to Nybar. Valdez goes to Durrell. Durrell right-handed finishes.
Okay. He's got both. Good for him. Change it up.
He's baby Chris Bosch. Chris Bosch never showed that.
Oh, he actually looks just like Chris Bosch. That's a great comparison. Chris Bosch of the Raptors.
Yes.
Most kids only know him as a Heat, but he was quite good with the Raptors.
And he great All-Star commercials. Remember he would campaign to make the All-Star team, and he did the old Texas car sales commercials. Drop that to Brody. Shot won't go. Rebound. Taken by Katoa. Dave comes right back, and he's fouled by Kozlowski. Going to put Katoa at the line to shoot two. There was a time I would have been saying, well, future conference opponents, but not anymore. Big 10, Big 12.
No, USC gets to travel to New Jersey now, so there'll be some long flights for Brody, and David will, I guess, hit Orlando a couple of times. So
at least once. That's a really cool atmosphere, by the way.
I think I'd rather be in Orlando than New Jersey, though, in the middle of December. So,
except for the experience to meet some true paisans. That's about the only thing.
Yes, yeah.
I would be bumping the okay. I've been to New Jersey, and I was playing the Sopranos music.
It'll be an interesting culture change for those Southern California boys to go over there to the East Coast.
Absolutely. Is nice take and make by KJ Miller. Here comes Nybar. And he finishes. Man, if you're late and you're like, hey, we're finally getting some points, but corner continues to answer. Mackay got past him.
Me all of a sudden here.
Yeah, he got past Nybar and able to finish it.
It's hard for kids to keep focus. Corner's focus isn't quite the same as it was in that first half with the 21-point lead. Let's see if Dan will kind of calm him down here. There's that backside cut.
They continue to run it at him. As sooner or later, hey, he's beating us with it. Let's just play man-to-man, see what happens, especially that far out for Durrell. It's not his.
Yeah, take your chances, get him a couple feet off the block, and see how well he does on a face-up game or something.
Right. Just love to even see, hey, show it or pump it, essentially. Right? Give him a little stem and see if he kicks it up to you.
Yeah, you might get you a couple easy steals if you do that.
At least get him seeing ghosts somewhere. As Layton trailing by 23. KJ Miller, 4-3. If they're going to make a run, he's got to be a catalyst. But him shooting threes, usually a very good barometer.
Yes, yeah. He can get hot really quick, so maybe that'll get him going.
Valdez sends out to Durrell. Now Nybar.
Looks like they made a change, putting Tidwell on Kozlowski, and they're just having him hang out at the top of the key, looks like.
If you look at it, you go, where do we go? Like, who are we going to force the ball in the hands of?
Yeah, I mean, obviously game plan number one is to try to limit Brody, but if he's got four other guys playing this well, they're going to be tough to beat.
Valdez went for the steal, didn't get it. Sent out to Tidwell. No. Tipped up by Nybar, and he comes away with it. Now Katoa got it. And then Dave nearly had that stolen. Oh, we're going to get Valdez with the foul.
It's getting a little sloppy out there. but that might be in favor of Layton.
And we're going to see this foul. There's a timeout on the floor. As Noah Bendinger going to come on. I would say it should be an immediate timeout. It is a immediate timeout. So timeout on the floor. We'll be back. You're watching the 6A semifinals. So out of the TV timeout, a 22-point lead for Corner Canyon. As Carter Miller, who had a good first half, goes at Noah Bendinger and gets the bucket. Well, you know, he's got a, I know Kelby's a huge Laker fan, and I think Carter says, I'm going to have the Mamba mentality. That's on me.
He's done a good job. He's a little bit different player than his brother. He's not, you know, looking to shoot a lot of threes. He's getting to the paint, and it's been really effective for him today.
Jason Williams weaponized that whole thing, I think, like Kobe Bryant when he went after Caitlin Clark, but I think Carter tries to use it on the floor.
Yeah.
You heard that, right? He said he won't call her great because she hasn't won a championship yet.
Ooh. She's changing the game of basketball for boys and girls.
Exactly. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, she is great.
There's some former Dukies who've had a bad couple of weeks with their takes. There's that one, and there's Jay Billis. As there's the foul to Katoa, going to put Darrell Desiree at the line. You heard the Jay Billis thing, right?
About the court storming?
Yeah. That
yeah.
You should,
every person should be arrested?
Yeah. Let them on the floor, then detain them. It's like, are you serious?
Well, it's probably because, you know, he's a little bit of a Duke homer, and anybody that beats Duke storms the court, so he's probably sick of it.
Well, I didn't know that Seth Davis was also a Duke alumnus.
Yeah.
So then Seth Davis had the same thing. And then, you know, you have Jay Williams at that take. He's like, man, what did Coach K teach these guys? Let's put it all on Coach K, right?
I guess. I think there's got to be some type of restriction or security. You know, again, if you know you're bringing in a top 10 team, like, let's vamp up security for that night, maybe.
Well, and let's get a good exit strategy to get these guys out of there. Because I know the Marriott Center has one. That's why they put them on that tunnel right behind there.
Oh, yeah.
To get them out of there.
Yeah.
As that shot goes from Mekhi Martin. We won't worry about that here as Noah Bendinger misses on that. They do not allow fans on the floor during this UHSAA tournament as Carter Miller gets the foul. This is the last time there was a court storming that I recall. It was 2006. Highland hecklers rushed the floor and they beat Provo. And Dane Stewart loves that because Dane Stewart got trampled by the Highland hecklers.
Really?
They got him pretty good.
Well, Highland, when Highland's good, they have quite the student section. And a little shout out to Coach Jones. He did a fantastic job with Highland this year. They, in the last few years that he's been there, he's definitely changed the culture back to Highland basketball, toughness and playing hard. So good. You know, I hope the best for him as they continue to build something there.
Noah Bendinger hits the three, and that's absolutely the case. Coach West had a good thing going. And then it's good to see the roar back at Highland. As there's a three from Tidwell on the answer. Yeah, that team with Braden Brown, Les Brown, and was it Sykes? And then Jake Orchard.
Yes.
Jake Orchard, not Jake Fakahafua Orchard, but
yes.
Jake Orchard.
They ran that Princeton offense to perfection back in those days. I can't imagine the amount of practice time that Coach West put together to get them so fluid in that Princeton offense.
And that was, where were you in that year?
I was still an assistant coach at West Jordan, I believe. And we didn't want to see him, that's for sure.
You were class 03?
Class of 04.
04.
Yep.
I was trying to remember. Yeah, you're 2 years younger than me. As that ball tipped up and in by Nybauer.
You keep looking at the score. Layton's creeping in. It's a 21-point game still. It's tied in the third quarter here, so Corner's just kind of keeping everything at bay, and one more quarter to try to play for another state championship.
And 9 minutes left in the Layton season. What can they do with it? And like I said, our hope is always we want good games. It is so much fun to call games like we saw last night. As KJ Miller can't get that one, tipped back up and then cleared by Darrell. And all we want is the game to get tightened up because then it just helps our broadcast.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about court storming.
Right. That's a three good from Isaac Nybar. And it is 63-39. Corner Canyon just flexing their muscle. They looked human at the end of the regular season. Bingham took him down to the wire, lost by 3. Dan Lunt, and I talked to him that night. Dan Lunt was very irritated.
I'm sure.
He was irritated because he said, I'm not mad how it went. He's like, I'm mad that they out-hustled us. He's like, they just out-competed us, and that really bothered him.
Yeah, I know they've already secured the region title, but you got to keep your kids hungry, and I'm sure that was a big frustration because you definitely want to be playing your best basketball going into the state tournament.
Well, I'm not about lots of things, but I don't think it's an unknown fact. They were very irritated by the 4 seed.
Oh, no question.
And give them an extra quiver, and they're going to take anything you can give them. If it's real or not real, which coaches do and players do, it's like, all right, we're going to prove it. Here's a 3 from Farrow, no good. Katoa at the horn, and that is short. We go to the fourth quarter, and it is Corner Canyon. 8 minutes away, getting back to the state championship game to defend their crown. As it is Corner Canyon 63, Layton 39. You're watching the 2024 6A state tournament on KSLSports.com. Start of the fourth quarter, Dusty Litster and Casey Walkenhurst with you. Our coverage this week brought to you by NutriCost. Go to NutriCost.com. Over 300 supplement options available on NutriCost. Use the code UTAHMADE. Get 30% off. As I share, I use their amino acids. I use the creatine and the TMG, trimethylglycine. As that shot does not go, and Darrell Desiree is fouled by Fulmer, so it'll be the first foul of the quarter. And I don't share a lot of stuff, but you can follow me on Instagram or on Twitter. You'll see this. It's how I maintain the 400-pound club. And not my weight, but the bench press.
There you go.
415 is the PR. I had to repunch the card last week or 2 weeks ago. So kept my membership in the 400-pound club.
Not many are there.
That's the only reason I try to maintain it. It feels good.
Yeah. I mean, I'd wave that card around all the time.
We got a big number at the end of March we're trying to hit. But inside with Darrell. That's a double swipe from Katoa. The miss, a board, and put back from Brody Kozlowski.
Yeah, if you're Corner Canyon in the next 7 minutes, you're maybe trying to refine a few things to get ready for Friday, but you definitely don't want to keep your guys in too long in case of injury. So we'll see what Coach Lunt does and how long he keeps his guys in, especially Brody.
They want to be smart with them. And the other thing, too, is the next game coming up, Lehigh versus Harriman. And Corner Canyon played both of them in the regular season, beat them both. Lehigh won that game as Katoa knocks down the 3. Cooper Lewis had a good game and won at Corner Canyon, but was without Brody Kozlowski. So Corner would love that one. And then, of course, Harriman jumped them in the RPI.
Yeah, the next matchup will be really interesting. Kind of similar to this one. You got Harriman, tons of balance, and you've got the stardom of Cooper. So hopefully it's a little closer than this one.
I think it will be, just simply because the size of Harriman cannot be matched by Lehigh.
For sure, yeah.
Grayson Brousseau is the only big they've got. So it's either Barclay or Palmer. What do you do with them? And then if you're looking at Harriman, well, who in the world do you put? Or sorry, Malcolm Johnson too.
Yes.
So Cooper's like, well, what are you going to do with him? Because Quincy's really smart, and so is Cooper.
Sure.
Cooper's got great basketball IQ.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who, because Harriman might not have the size to put on Cooper at the guard line, and if you put too big of a guy on him, he's going to go by. So that'll be an interesting matchup. I think that might be the key if Cooper might have to go for 40 or so to keep him in that one. Who knows?
Well, and Doug Beecham versus Quincy Lewis. I mean, I feel like I'm going back to 2009.
Man, those AF Lone Peak battles back in those days were pretty spectacular.
And they had to be played at the UCCU Center. That was the other thing. That's one of my first times when I saw Frank. It was one of the first times I got a big run off stuff we did when we first started streaming. Was Frank Jackson having multiple dunks that were just in-game, unreal dunks against American Fort. As down the other way, Darrell Desiree.
I've had a lot of coaches ask around who's the better player for Quincy, his son Cooper or Frank Jackson, as far as just a scorer, flat-out scorer. And I've heard mixed feelings, but Frank was a different level.
Yes.
Cooper's a hell of a player.
Yes, he is. As Farrell blocked away. The answer is Frank Jackson.
Yes.
I mean,
no question.
Name the question. Frank Jackson is, let's see. He's the only one that was recruited by Mike Krzyzewski in the height of Duke basketball still. Wasn't the downslope, height of Duke basketball. He's the only one that was a one and done. He spent not just a cup of coffee in the NBA, a long time in the NBA, now playing overseas. Like, I had someone ask me, I was on a radio show, and they asked me, hey, who's the best basketball player you've seen? Like, well, that's easy. That's Frank Jackson.
Yeah. The state of Utah has seen a lot of great basketball players, but Frank was different.
Sean Bradley, Travis Knight, but that wasn't what the question was since 05, right? It's like, okay, well, 05, Frank Jackson, maybe Kyle Collinsworth, maybe Brandon Davies.
Mackay Wesley.
Mackay. McKelly.
Yes.
Wesley.
That'd be a good trivia question. Where did Travis Knight go to college? And I would bet 99% of kids would have no idea who Travis Knight was in the first place.
That's the only reason I knew where
unless
that
you went to
existed.
Alta.
Yeah.
Then you would know.
Yeah. That was when I learned where that school was, because when I heard it, I was like, wait, where's that school? And
Where's
I had
Connecticut?
UConn. It threw me off forever. I'm like, what's a UConn?
Yeah.
Because remember, that was when the men's and women's were the first time the teams ever to be both number one.
Yep.
With Rebecca Lobo on one side, Travis Knight on the other, with Ray Allen, and
those bring me back to being a kid. Seeing a guy from Utah playing on ESPN for the Huskies.
How cool that was.
Yeah.
It was like he went all the way there. Oh, what a pass from Mackay. There's a memory for KJ Miller and Mackay Martin. Darrell gives out up to Brody with a dunk.
And it's becoming a little pickup game out here.
We're going to put defense back in the 6A semifinals.
Yeah. Well, my prediction might be ready. Good, 7 points, first to 80 wins.
Here comes Brighton. Nice play by Fulmer. Saying not today, not right now. Dave Katoa pulls for three and rattles in the three. Timeout, Kelby Miller. Get a chance to look at that little razzle-dazzle.
Now in for the Lancers, number 3, Roma.
These two guys have been running this for 3 years. That was pretty.
Yep, really nice. I remember when both KJ and Mackay were freshmen playing a lot of minutes for Layton, and it's 4 years later, and probably not the way they wanted it to end, but to get to a Final Four, I don't care who you are, getting to Final Four is special.
Oh, it absolutely is. This is Utah Facial Plastics timeout. Call 801-960-3137. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. But in life, if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you're a better employee, you're a better parent, you're a better father, especially if you're going through hair loss. If you're having hair loss things and it's hurting your confidence, look, there's ways to fix that these days. Go to Utah Facial Plastics for hair restoration consultation, 801-960-3137. And the great thing about this promotion during this game, their offices are in Draper and in Layton. So call 801-960-3137. And if you get Dr. Doug Henstrom as your doctor, let him know that Dusty sent you, and Uncle Doug will take care of you.
Dr. Henstrom's getting like the perfect thing right here.
I know.
The two communities that he has offices in, this is the best promotion that could have happened.
And if you don't get Dr. Doug, there are still great doctors at Utah Facial Plastics. I only plug Doug because he is my wife's uncle.
Always helps.
Yeah. So 73-55 the lead for Corner Canyon. They're going to punch their ticket to the 6A championship. And for Dan Lund, it's going to be 4 in 7 years, I think it is. Maybe 4 in 6. He won one in 5A, his first one. And then they made it to the championship game and lost to Davis. Then won last year. I probably lost to American Fork and then won last year. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
I think it was Westlake that lost to Davis.
It was
back
Westlake
in
Davis.
2001 or 21.
They lost to Davis in the semis.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Brody pulls and hits. Yeah, they ran into the Chance Trujillo buzzsaw.
Yeah.
In that third quarter.
Yeah, the quarterback had a great run that week.
That was unreal.
That was.
I hadn't seen anything like this. When we went to do our awards, I was like, well, we punted that year. Dane and I could not come to a conclusion on our player of the year. We punted on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, let's answer our question. I haven't seen any answers come in. Ethan Potter is the answer to your question. I didn't have to even ask Vince. The only player between Corner Canyon and Layton to be named Mr. Basketball, not Mr. Rewind. I don't know why we're using this term, but Mr. Basketball is Ethan Potter. Because that year, Dane and I decided to punt. We couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah, that was a tough year. He was a big player, big guy.
Yeah, that year, I don't want to relive it. Dane and I just could not. It was the only time in our whole relationship we just could not come to agreement. It's like, let's agree to disagree. And we're just going to go awards on classification side.
There you go. You guys have a great marriage. You're always compromising.
Yes, it is a very true statement. Dan and I have been together since 2005.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. Lots of series of life together. As Katoa pulls, can't get the three.
Well, as a high school coach here in Utah, we appreciate you guys. Before this, it was the K-Jazz semifinal, final games that really was the only televised high school sports, especially for basketball in the state. But you guys have really made basketball a big thing here in Utah, so we really appreciate all you guys do.
I appreciate that. We mean a lot. Dane and I first started, I don't want to name all the places we were at, but there was no high school coverage in 2005 when we got started, really. It was only on one place, and you couldn't watch it live. It was all post. And that's where we started. That's where Dane and I got paired together. And the first championship game we called was Provo versus Highland. That's why I know that whole thing. But you had to watch it post. Yeah. That was your Somerville versus Morgan Grimm. Somerville, the Horn.
That was the loudest I've ever heard the Maverick Center. Ever. When that shot went in, and then I had to sit in the parking lot for 4 hours because that's a horrible parking lot.
It's a terrible parking lot.
But I don't know if I'll ever remember a game that loud when that shot went in.
That was so unreal.
Yes.
So unreal. That was our first basketball season. As Tidwell misses on that one. And so we did a lot of championship games those years. But no one saw them. Well, people saw them because then the channel we were on was in every hotel in the valley.
Yeah.
And that's how people saw us.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing. And then we went for a lot of time. We still did stuff there. People just didn't know. We were doing 24 games a month at another place. Then we moved to Deseret News, and then we were able to get the streaming rights with our partner for streaming rights. Oh, how about that? Didn't know Isaac Nybar had that in him. Who knew? Isaac Nybar. Put it on a postcard.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. That was awesome.
So full timeout. But, Coach, we want to thank you. I mean, we'll keep it here. We're going to roll right through it. Utah Facial Plastics timeout. Things to talk about. People get mad for us about the game. But we want to thank you. This coaches allow us to come in that make this different for us. But if you're Coach Miller, and I don't care if it's a state championship game or not, when you're saying goodbye to kids, and not even just if you're own, and I don't think you've had that opportunity yet, but guys you've had for 4 years, like Colin Chandler, and you're like, these guys have been my guys. And I've coached summer baseball, right? There's kids I had for 5 years. It was hard to say goodbye to them.
Yes.
What's this huddle like when you're saying goodbye to these seniors and a lot of these kids that you've known, especially for him, he's probably coached them in bantams and other things too.
Oh, yeah. It's difficult. It's one of the, I tell my teams every year, it's the beauty and the curse of a state tournament, right? There's so much pageantry and Cinderella stories, but at the end, only one team's happy. And, it hurts in the moment. As a coach, there's nothing you can say to help and make anybody feel better other than you'll look back at this time and it's the best time with your friends that, you'll remember forever. And a lot of times it's not even the games that you remember. It's the time you spent at dances and things like that. So it's a really hard and awkward conversation with your team at the end of games. But I think, the coaches, appreciate these kids and their effort, and it's one of the hardest times, but it's also really rewarding.
It is. It's little moments and you got to see this a lot now. There's a block and one for Checketts. It's the fun part is watching these guys grow up. And also, that doesn't make you feel old. And also, they've got families. I got former players that got multiple kids now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I started coaching in 05 too. And so these guys have all grown up. And I love that. We still stay in touch because those memories don't go away. I think that's one of my favorite things about coaching, being a part of a team, is that this team won't see each other for 10 years if that's what would happen. But when they get back together, they're going to tell stories. And a lot of them won't be about games. It's going to be about practice. It's going to be about a bus ride. It's going to be about whatever it was.
Yep. Something
happened funny in the locker room, and it just doesn't go away. Has a big three as Tyler Mortensen knocks that down.
There's a moment for him, a little semifinal three.
So, and then get a chant from the student section as Fulmer sends this out to Carter Miller.
Speaking of a little shout out for the next game, Stockton Blanchard.
Yeah.
I was around when he was born, so that's how old I am right now, and he's a junior playing for Harriman the next game. So, yeah, it's crazy. I even have former players from Farmington. We've only been around for 6 years that have kids already, so it's weird.
Hudson Brown for three, and that will do it. Corner Canyon going back to the 6A state championship game, third year in a row, and they're looking for back-to-back titles as they take this one over number one ranked in the RPI, Layton, 89-60. Coach, we've got a lot of time to talk about this one, but some final thoughts before we send it down to Kenzie Valentine in our post-game interview.
Great season from Layton, 23-2, and it didn't work out for them tonight. So a lot of respect for them and their program and Coach Miller and Dan Lunt, and he's got a thing rolling at Corner Canyon, and whoever ends up playing them on Friday night, they're going to have to play their best game because Corner Canyon is rolling right now.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Corner Canyon making it in, but to Layton, this doesn't change the season. It really does. You go 23-2. I know you want a title in the very end, but a special year, and these kids have built their way up to this one. Katoa comes back after the disbandment of Utah Prep as far as their academy program, how it works. He goes back to Layton. Amazing, amazing memories for these young men. And Coach Kelby Miller, one of our favorites. We've gotten to know Kelby for a really long time, and this has been an outstanding year for him. He's going to say goodbye to KJ being one of his players, but let's send it down to Kenzie Valentine. Kenzie, go ahead with Brody Kozlowski, our Heineman Associates player of the game.
Was crazy tonight. How did that impact tonight's game?
The energy they brought, the students, the fans, was awesome. It just fueled us up.
You guys were up 21 points to end the first half. What was the mindset heading into
0-0? We just got to come out with the same mentality, go inside out, attack inside, just get easy baskets.
You and both had dunks late in the fourth quarter. How did that feel for the both of you?
Oh, great. It was fun. It was really fun.
Congratulations, Brody. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you, Kenzie. And congratulations, Brody Kozlowski, as he and his team going back to the state championship game for the third year in a row. Well, Corner Canyon getting a chance to go back-to-back. Who they're going to play, we'll find out next. Lehigh versus Harriman coming up. This has been a KSL Sports Rewind production for KSL Sports and our coverage of the 2024 6A State Championship Basketball Tournament. Presented by Associates, brought to you by NutriCost. Guys, look, support the companies who decide to support us. Use the code UTAHMADE to get 30% off of your order at NutriCost.com. Over 300 supplements available on NutriCost. Use the code UTAHMADE and get 30% off. For Coach Casey Walkenhurst, Kenzie Valentine, Austin Bigelow, and Vince Francis, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and for watching our coverage of the 2024 6A State Tournament. Lehigh Harriman coming up in 23 minutes and 45 seconds.